Let's get to Paris now and speak to our French football expert, Jonathan Johnson. Right, Jonathan, let's start with Cristiano Ronaldo. There's been some reports in France suggesting he could be heading to Marseille. What are you hearing and how could that be possible?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's something that has cropped up over the last few days and has become almost a social media campaign now to try and get Cristiano Ronaldo to Stade Velodrome. Obviously, it would be a huge coup for the Southern Giants if they could pull it off, but a very difficult move. And you look at this OM side at the moment, there are potential moves in the offing. Milik getting closer to a move to Juventus. And there's been issues as well with the manager Igor Tudor, particularly with talented playmaker Dimitri Payet and his fitness since the beginning of pre-season. But when you've got people like Djibril Cissé taking to social media, trying to add their voice to the calls to bring Cristiano Ronaldo to the South Coast, then it does make for an interesting last few days in France. I'm not sure that I'm buying into it too much right at this moment in time, but given Ronaldo's desire to leave Old Trafford for Champions League football before the end of the transfer window, who knows? They already have Alexis Sanchez there, so perhaps stranger things have happened in the football transfer market.
Yeah, it would be a real wow moment if that was to go through, but one that's looking far more likely is Eric Bailly going to Marseille.
Yeah, so it sounds like he's on his way to the club, will do his medical and sign his contract. And that will be a big boost for Marseille, obviously, having lost William Saliba, Boubacar Kamara as well. That left a big hole in that OM side with a new manager in the mix as well. It's going to be a new Marseille side that goes into the Champions League in this edition. And I think Bailly as well, somebody who comes in with, a bit of pedigree, ability, experience, and will be a big boost for them. I'm not sure that he'll perhaps live up to the high standards set by Saliba, but still a good get for Marseille all the same.
Jonathan, let's talk about the champions, Paris Saint-Germain. Every single window we talk about their big squads and who could be leaving. But look, could there be any outgoings, including the likes of Kurzawa, Keylor Navas, Ander Herrera?
Yeah, well, that's definitely what PSG are hoping to do between now and the end of the transfer window. You've got Keylor Navas edging towards a switch to Napoli. Fulham very interested in leaving Kurzawa. And then you've got Ander Herrera, who is close to going back to his former club, Athletic Club. So, interesting days for PSG coming up. They've got that deal lined up for Fabian Ruiz of Napoli. They just need to sort of unblock a bit of, their wage bill before they can action a move like that. But Christophe Galtier has been clear. He still expects a couple more profiles to be added to his squad. So I think it's going to be a busy few days for Luis Campos, especially if those moves happen and then PSG look to move on somebody else, perhaps an Abdou Diallo.
Hi, Jonathan. Moussa Dembélé has been linked with several Premier League clubs. Do you think he could be leaving Lyon?
I definitely think it is a possibility. I think that Lyon would rather cash in on him now than lose him for free next summer. It sounds like, or it certainly sounded like recently, that the player had sort of made his mind up that he would rather see out his contract and then leave as a free agent next summer. But given the limited amount of game time that he might have now that Alexandre Lacazette is back in the fold for OL, I definitely think it is a possibility if the right offer comes in. There was some Spanish interest a while back. I believe that's cooled down, but I think there are a number of clubs who are looking at Dembélé, as perhaps a good capture between now and the end of the transfer window, especially clubs who, obviously remember him from his time in England. He's had a spell at Fulham and also with Celtic in Scotland as well.
Hi, Jonathan. Hwang Wei-jo at Bordeaux. Nottingham Forest have had an offer accepted for him, but it sounds like they're planning to loan him out to Olympiacos. Why is that? Is he not quite ready for the Premier League?
That's a good question. Forest, obviously, very busy this summer. I believe they're also close to striking a deal for Djibril Cissé, who Premier League fans will remember from his time with Everton. But on Hwang, and he was a good player in a very disappointing Bordeaux side. Obviously, they got relegated to Ligue 2, so they've had to move on a lot of their star names and higher earners, and Hwang was one of those players expected to move on. Albert Ellis as well, who's of interest in Norwich City, another player, from Bordeaux who could be on the move. But in terms of why he might then be loaned out to Olympiacos, I don't think that Hwang is necessarily of, not of Premier League quality, but I think it's more a question of, having a player who could potentially, be useful for Forest, probably more likely in the Championship than in the Premiership. So I think obviously with the expenditure that Forest have had this summer, the expectation will be that they do survive, at least in the Premier League. So perhaps we'll see him after a bit of a loan spell in Greece, but it's also something that could turn into a permanent move.
Well, Jonathan, I didn't think I'd be discussing a link between a Paris Saint-Germain player coming to Sunderland. Right, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Edouard Michut. I think this one's a very interesting one because he was looked at earlier this summer by Celtic. When you look at Xavi Simons at PSV Eindhoven and the way that he's exploded since linking up with Ruud van Nistelrooy, I think there is a feeling that Michut needs to now spread his wings. He's a talented youngster, quite attack-minded, and somebody who I think realises that his opportunities in the first team at PSG are going to be an absolute premium. Got off to a bit of an awkward start with the new leadership as well of Christophe Galtier and Luis Campos, and I think that Michut needs a new chapter. And Sunderland now in the second tier in England, I think that would be a very interesting fit for him. I think he might take a bit of time to adapt to the physicality of the league, but he's definitely somebody who technically I think is a very, very good player and could blossom into quite a fine performer.
Yeah, step up if anything. Can't wait to see him in that red and white shirt. Jonathan, thank you.